Welcome to a special update. I'm Tom. Tonight we're going to be looking at your home and what preparations you need to be making, and also some tips to help you weather this hurricane, either Irma or any other hurricane. So first up, let's pull up a graphic here. We're going to look at the weak points in a house and how to make them weather the hurricane better. First thing you need to know, are you in an area that floods? And say in a bad thunderstorm, do you get flooding? If that's so, you're going to need some extra protection. Also, do you need storm shutters? Or can I just tape the windows? And what about my car? What do I do with my car? Well, first up, let's look at a weak point in most houses, and here it is. It's the garage door. The garage doors are not normally designed to handle much over 100 miles an hour of wind, so what you need to do is they need to be reinforced. And the next picture up is going to show how someone has reinforced them themselves by putting wood. It's attached up at the top. That's called the header, and it is also attached into the concrete floor in the bottom. I just don't have a good picture of where it's attached to the bottom. And this is important because this is probably one of the weakest spots in most homes. And during Andrew, which was a category 5, I would say probably 95% of the homes that had garage doors were just like the one you seen in the picture before. Next up, here's a picture of somebody. See, they're attaching that up to the header up there at the top. They're screwing screws into that, and they had screwed put anchors into the concrete floor to hold the bottom edge. And I can't stress enough that if that door goes, you could lose your home. And plywood. Plywood over windows, yes. If you don't have shutters, it'll work. But do not use less than 5/8 thickness, and really 3/4 is recommended, and it's the best, especially for protecting things that are flying through the air, like toys and all kind of things that your neighbor decided not to put in their garage out of the way. Next up, here is another type of covering, and this is what I use down in Miami, and it is a metal. There's a track that goes top and a track that goes bottom, and this is a metal covering that goes over the windows. And these are designed to keep the heavy rain from pounding on them and things that are flying through the air. And here is another picture of what it looks like once you get it pretty much all together. And it's like I say, there's a track at the top and a track at the bottom, and it uses wing nuts, and it's very good. Most all the home improvement stores carry these panels and the channels, and they are much superior to wood because you can use them over and over again, as long as they don't get damaged. And here, this is the old myth that you can tape up the windows and you'll be fine. That's not true at all. Taping the windows does absolutely nothing. If anything, it's actually more dangerous. And looking at this graphic, and this is from NOAA, applying tape actually makes them less safe because of the broken shards, if it gets hit, are going to be bigger, and the tape tries to hold those bigger pieces together. Use approved shutters or plywood to protect the windows. So they're even telling you that. And if you are in a flood prone area, you may need sandbags. You can get sandbags at the home centers, And also some places, some of the cities and FEMA have sandbags ready for people. All they have to do is go pick them up. So you have to check on that. And it depends on what type of home you're in. Are you in a home like this, which is on a slab? It's going to be more prone to flooding just because it's only a few inches off of the ground, and then depending on how the land is graded. Or do you have a foundation? This one here is obviously a good 2 to 3 feet off of the ground. So even if the floodwaters did rise, there's a possibility you might not get flooded out inside your home. And here's a picture of somebody putting sandbags around their house. And you might think, well, that's just silly. That's not going to do anything. And that's not true. There's many cases where sandbags have just even what he's doing there, 3 or 4 layers high, has protected people's homes. And here's one where it's protected an actual business, and that's really amazing. But sandbags have been used for many years, and they are tried and tested, and they actually work. Here's another home. They had a bunch of flood water, and these bags protected the home, and it was not damaged. So that could be a good thing if you're in that area. Next thing is get all the junk out of the yard. And also go help your neighbors and help them get stuff in, because that is what's going to be a big problem, is just trash and garbage. Even just boards and things that are laying in a yard can get picked up and thrown into your house. This was during Andrew. I got this picture, and you can see what this piece of plywood did to this tree. That just shows you the strength of the wind when it's over 150 miles an hour, what it can do. And talking about Hurricane Andrew, that was in August of '92. It was a Category 5, 175 mile an hour winds. There was a storm surge, and it was around 17 to 20 feet in some spots. And it did come in down near Homestead, Florida. And it was a $26.5 billion in damage. And here is a picture of Homestead Air Force Base. And look at the hangars, and you know that those hangars are designed for literally war. And that's what 175 mile an hour winds did to it. Next thing, make sure your doors, make sure you have deadbolts. Deadbolts are much stronger than just your normal locks, so you need that for sure. And here's somebody, this is an exterior door, and they've put a brace on it. And you might say, well, that's overkill. That's just a lot. You know, why are they putting a brace on a door? Well, here's why. Because of wind pressure. A normal 36-inch door at 150 mile an hour wind, there's 780 pounds of force on that door. About 3 good-sized guys. So never open an outside door in a hurricane, because you probably will never get it closed, and it'll probably destroy your house. Now back to the garage door. It's 3 times the size of a normal door. They're usually 9 by 7. So the pressure on it at 150 is close to 2,400 pounds of pressure. So that's why you need that bracing, because it's literally the weight of a car pushing on that door. And what do you do with your car if you don't have a garage? Well, there's really no safe place because of things flying around. But what FEMA says is to put the car as close to the side of the house as you can, and the house at least will protect one side of the car. I know it's funny, but it actually does work. Well, I hope this helped a little bit. There's so many other things that you need to know, and there's just not enough time So appreciate you tuning into this. Hit the like button and comments. If you know some tip, put it in the comments so other people can learn about all this. Have a great night.